I'm about to share something that might make therapists hate me. After spending over $50,000 on therapy across 10 years, I discovered a single shadow work technique that did more for my healing in 3 months than all those therapy sessions combined. I know that sounds impossible, maybe even irresponsible to say, but I have the receipts, the journals, and the transformation to prove it. Today, I'm teaching you the exact technique that changed everything, not because therapy is bad, but because this specific shadow method does something therapy simply cannot do. But first, a warning. This technique is powerful. It's not for everyone. If you're not ready to meet the parts of yourself you've been hiding from, if you're not prepared for rapid change, stop watching now. Because once you learn this, once you see how it works, you can't unknow it. And your shadow? It's been waiting for this moment your entire life. Why 10 years of therapy wasn't enough. Let me paint you a picture of my therapy journey. 10 years, 3 different therapists, CBT, psychodynamic, even EMDR. I talked about my childhood until I was blue in the face. I understood my patterns intellectually. I had coping strategies coming out of my ears. But here's the brutal truth. I was still the same person, just with better vocabulary to describe my dysfunction. I could tell you exactly why. I sabotaged relationships, abandonment issues from dad leaving when I was 7. I knew why I couldn't accept success, mom's jealousy when I outshined her. I had insight for days. But insight without integration is just expensive self-awareness. I was a self-aware mess, a well-analyzed disaster. The breaking point came during a session where my therapist said, "You've made such progress in understanding yourself." I wanted to scream. Understanding? I didn't need more understanding. I needed transformation. That night, I made a decision that would lead me to the shadow technique that actually works, the discovery. That changed everything. I found this technique not in a psychology textbook or therapy training, but in Carl Jung's personal journal, his red book. Jung himself used this method during his own psychological crisis. He called it active imagination with the shadow, but I refined it into something more practical, more powerful. Here's what makes this technique different from therapy. Therapy works from the outside in, through talking and thinking. This shadow technique works from the inside out, through embodiment and dialogue. Therapy analyzes your shadow. This technique converses with it. Therapy explains your darkness. This technique befriends it. The core principle is revolutionary. Your shadow isn't a problem to be solved or a wound to be healed. It's an exiled part of your psyche with its own intelligence, its own gifts, waiting to be reclaimed. And it doesn't want to be analyzed. It wants to be heard. The shadow dialogue technique. Step by step, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this. But please, approach with respect. This isn't a party trick or a quick fix. It's a profound psychological practice that opens doorways in your psyche. Step 1. Identify your shadow figure. Think of someone who absolutely repulses you, triggers you, makes you irrationally angry or disgusted. Not someone who's actually harmed you. That's trauma. Different. Work. Someone whose personality or behavior makes your skin crawl. Got them? That's your shadow in projection. Step 2. Find the core quality. What specifically about them bothers you? Are they arrogant, needy, fake, selfish, weak? Write down the exact quality that triggers you most. This quality is what you've exiled, your shadow. Step 3. Create sacred space. This isn't casual work. Light a candle. Sit somewhere private. You're about to invite a long-exiled part of yourself home. Treat this with the gravity it deserves. 4. The invitation. Close your eyes and say internally, "Shadow of my quality, I invite you to speak with me." Show yourself in whatever form you choose. Then wait. And here's where it gets wild. Step 5. The appearance. Your shadow will appear in your mind's eye. It might be a person, an animal, a monster, a child. Don't judge or control the image. Let it emerge. I've seen shadows appear as dragons, as wounded children, as dark twins, as wise elders. Trust what comes. Step 6. The dialogue. This is the crucial part that makes it more powerful than therapy. You don't analyze this figure. You talk to it. Ask, what do you want me to know? What do you need? What gift do you bring? Then, and this is vital, you listen. Your shadow will speak, not in words necessarily, but in knowing and feeling, in sudden understanding. Step 7. The negotiation. Your shadow has been exiled for a reason. It has power you weren't ready for. So you negotiate. How can I integrate you in a way that serves my life? Your shadow might want expression through art, through movement, through new boundaries. Listen to what it needs. Step 8. The integration commitment. End by making a specific commitment to your shadow. I will honor you by ... double quotes. Make it concrete. If your arrogant shadow wants recognition, maybe you commit to acknowledging one achievement daily. If your selfish shadow wants care, maybe you commit to saying no once a week. Why this works when therapy doesn't. Let me tell you what happened when I first used this technique. My shadow appeared as a wild woman, hair streaming, eyes blazing, absolutely feral. She was everything I'd been taught not to be: loud, sexual, demanding, unapologetic. I asked what she wanted. She said, I want you to stop pretending to be tame. In that moment, I understood something 10 years of therapy had missed. I wasn't broken. I was split. Half of me was living in the light, performing acceptability. Half was exiled to shadow, holding all my power. Therapy had been trying to fix the performance. This technique reunited me with my power. The difference is profound. Therapy often reinforces the split by focusing on the acceptable you, helping that part function better. This shadow technique heals the split by bringing the exiled parts home. You don't become better at being half a person. You become whole. Real transformations. Using this technique, Michael was a people pleaser in therapy for 8 years. He understood his pattern came from an alcoholic father. He'd learned that keeping everyone happy meant safety. Therapy helped him recognize the pattern, but he couldn't break it. Using this technique, his shadow appeared as a ruthless businessman. Cold, calculating, focused on his own needs. Everything Michael judged as evil. But when asked what gift he brought, the shadow said, I carry your ability to value yourself. Michael's homework? One selfish decision daily. Within 3 months, he'd asked for a raise, set boundaries with family, and ended 2 toxic friendships. 8 years of understanding versus 3 months of integration. Sarah's shadow appeared as a helpless child, the neediness she despised in others because she'd buried her own. The shadow's message? You abandoned me to become strong, but I hold your ability to receive love. Sarah's integration practice was to ask for help once daily. Her 20-year marriage transformed as she finally let her husband see her vulnerability, dangers, and how to navigate them. I need to be transparent about risks. This technique is powerful precisely because it bypasses ego defenses. That makes it transformative, but also potentially destabilizing. Here's how to practice safely. Never do this technique if you're in acute crisis, actively suicidal, or dealing with severe mental illness. You need ego strength to integrate shadow material. If you're fragile, build strength first. Start small. Don't go for your biggest shadow immediately. Practice with minor irritations before confronting major projections. Build your shadow dialogue muscle gradually. Have support. This technique can unleash powerful emotions and insights. Have a trusted friend, therapist, or shadow work group to process what emerges. Don't do this in isolation. Respect the shadow's power. If your shadow says it wants to burn everything down, don't literally start fires. Find symbolic, safe ways to honor destructive urges. Paint with red. Scream in your car. Break old dishes. Channel the energy consciously. Integration. The most important part? Here's where most people fail. They have powerful shadow encounters, then do nothing. The dialogue isn't the work. It's the beginning. Integration is everything. Your shadow needs expression in real life, or it returns to exile, often angrier than before. I made my wild shadow woman a promise. I would speak one uncomfortable truth daily. Small things at first. Telling a friend their joke wasn't funny. Admitting I was bored in a conversation. Then bigger truths. Confronting my mother about childhood pain. Telling my partner what I really wanted in bed. Admitting career dreams. I'd hidden. Each integrated action brought more of my shadow's power into conscious life. The chronic fatigue I'd battled for years? Gone. That was the energy required to keep her imprisoned. The anxiety? Dissolved. That was the fear of her escaping. The depression? Lifted. That was grief for my unlived life. The 10-year difference you might wonder, how can 3 months of shadow dialogue equal 10 years of therapy? Because they're doing different things. Therapy helped me understand why I was split. This technique healed the split. Therapy taught me to manage symptoms. This technique eliminated their cause. Therapy worked with who I thought I was. This technique introduced me to who I actually am. After 10 years of therapy, I was a highly functional half-person. After 3 months of shadow work, I was a messy but whole human. I'll take wholeness over functionality every time. But here's the nuance. Those 10 years of therapy weren't wasted. They built the ego strength that allowed me to do shadow work safely. They gave me the psychological vocabulary to understand what was happening. Think of therapy as building the container. Shadow work fills it with your authentic self. Your shadow is calling. As we near the end, I want to speak directly to the part of you that's been waiting for this. That shadow quality you've exiled, it's not your enemy. It's your wholeness in hiding. Every quality you judge in others is a piece of yourself you've disowned. And that piece? It contains exactly the medicine your life needs. Your anger holds your power. Your neediness holds your capacity for intimacy. Your selfishness holds healthy boundaries. Your arrogance holds self-worth. Your chaos holds creativity. Your weakness holds the ability to receive. What you've exiled hasn't disappeared. It's been waiting, gathering power, ready to gift you everything you've been seeking through therapy, self-help, spiritual practices. This technique isn't better than therapy because it's superior. It's better because it does what therapy cannot: reunite you with yourself. Therapy helps you function in society. This helps you function as a whole human being. The practice begins now. If you're ready to try this technique, start tonight. Choose someone who mildly irritates you. Don't go for your biggest trigger yet. Set aside 30 minutes. Light that candle. Open that dialogue. Your shadow has been waiting your entire life for this conversation. Document everything. Write the dialogue, the images, the insights. And most importantly, follow through on integration. Your shadow will test you. If you promise action, then don't deliver. It retreats deeper. But if you honor your word, if you integrate even in small ways, your life transforms in ways therapy alone never could. Spent $50,000 in 10 years talking about my problems. This technique cost me nothing and gave me everything. Not because it's magic, but because it addresses the root that therapy often misses: the reunification of all that you are. What shadow quality are you ready to dialogue with? Share in the comments. Sometimes naming it publicly is the first step. And if you know someone stuck in therapy without transformation, share this video. They might be ready for the technique that actually works. Remember, your shadow isn't darkness to be analyzed. It's power to be reclaimed. The conversation that changes everything is waiting. Will you answer?